Small. What does it mean? Ask a dictionary and you'll get a size that is less than normal or usual. Or worse, insignificant, unimportant. Here's what we think at ABSA. Small means community, your neighbor. It means that cup of coffee that you buy from the cafe on your way to work. The suit in the shop window that you promise you'll get one day. It's the family restaurant that you run into to grab lunch or dinner. The haircut you get together with free advice. It's Marilo's Bakery. Because when you look at the big picture, small is huge. And it's why we back small businesses. Play your part and shop local every hashtag ABSA Small Biz Friday. And be the me in SME. Let's grow Mzansi kaofela. Visit absa.co.za to find out how hashtag ABSA Small Biz Friday benefits us all. We do more so small businesses can thrive. That's Africanacity.
A very big welcome to everyone. My sincere apologies for that 5-minute delay. A few technical issues as we all experience all the time, but we will certainly make up for it in our discussion this afternoon. So really apologize for that. A big welcome to all our attendees. It's one of our record attendances this afternoon. We have a few thousand attendees, and I was talking to Ronnie off air just now, and I said to him, small business funding, the phrase, must be the most Googled phrase in the world because it's such an important topic and there's so much to understand around it. And we certainly know that our discussion and my engagement with Ronnie in a few moments will certainly bring some insight and some enlightenment into the subject. And as we know, this afternoon's topic is funding your growing business and what funders are looking for, plus alternative funding options. And just to take a look at my brief here, and what we're going to talk about is how small businesses can access funding, as well as top tips on what funders are looking for. Then in conclusion to our discussion, we're always going to bring in the topic, the incredible initiative, South Africa's biggest small business movement, ABSA Small Biz Friday, and we're going to share how small businesses can maximize on this opportunity. And just a plea to all our attendees this afternoon, the replay will be sent to you. Please, let's keep the discussion positive. As I've said over the past 3 years in these platforms, keep it positive, keep it inspirational. Let's keep it engaging. And of course, if you have any questions that you would like to address NSBC or ABSA that fall outside of this discussion, please pop an email to info@nsbc.africa and we will address whatever issues that you have at hand. So guys, we look forward to this afternoon. And, Ronnie Mbatsane, who is the managing executive of SME Business for ABSA, a very difficult man to get onto these platforms, but he's always extremely willing. He's a passionate person on small business, together with ABSA, of course. And I really enjoy talking to Ronnie. He's not only inspirational, he's enlightening, and his insights this afternoon, I'm certainly looking forward to it, and I know all of you as well. So Ronnie Mbatsane, would you please join me on stage? Ronnie, again, great to see you and great to talk to you.
Mike, thank you so much, and good afternoon to all the NSBC members and all our clients, ABSA clients, both current and future clients. And I'm happy to be here to talk to you this afternoon about a very important piece, of the journey of small business in terms of funding their own businesses.
Absolutely.
Back to you, Mike.
Thank you, Ronnie. Absolutely, Ronnie. It's a huge issue, and not necessarily an issue. We want to alleviate the issues. We want to close that gap, Ronnie, to get more people to be able to access funding. And together, we're going to educate the nation and all these business owners on what they can do to improve their chances, let's call it, of getting approved for funding. And we would like to close that gap. And I know that it's a big mission for ABSA. You're a passionate organization around small business. You personally are, Ronnie. So I know that that's our quest, not only today, but ongoing discussion on really allowing our business owners out there to access the right type of funding for their business so they can stay in business, build bigger and more successful businesses so they can employ others. So, and of course, scaling a business a big catalyst to that is, of course, obtaining funding. So, Ronnie, I've got a couple of great questions. You know, we always bring questions based on all our surveys out there. And the questions that I've got for our discussion this afternoon, Ronnie, are all coming out the press, hot off the press. They're hot questions, and they are the most common right now in South Africa. So I'm going to get into it straight away. But Ronnie, my first question, if you don't mind me, audience, I've just been given this brief here, so I'm going to just bounce my head up and down while I actually look at the questions. Ronnie, obtaining funding is always a challenge for SMEs. What are the primary reasons why SMEs don't get funding?
Mike, thank you so much. And what an opening question. You know, funding is always a challenge for SMMEs. But, you know, I just want to take, you know, some few moments just to take you through what, you know, banks like ourselves, especially ABSA, what we look for viable business ideas that have the ability not only to generate income, but also to cover, you know, their expenses and be profitable. And we look at variety of things. And one of the things that are very important for us that we look for is, you know, the ability to be able to be in a solvent state. And I'll explain what I mean about that. That your level of assets over liability is very much important. And assets are an indicator of how much the business is actually geared. But I want to take, you know, the audience and our customers to probably maybe 5 things that are very important that we need to look for as we run, you know, small medium enterprises ourselves, and mainly the entrepreneurs that are online. The top reasons really SMEs are mainly refused funding that we've you know, seen. It's insufficient profitable operating history. So what it means is that over time, the business is struggling to live up to the expense, to even pay interest on some of the loans, or to even cover, you know, some of the expenses that they have. I think the second one, which is more common that we see, Mike, is inadequate cash flow generation. This is mainly either the business has forecast, you know, in terms of the market, over forecast, and they borrow with an intent to make sure that they cover those, you know, over a period of time. And what we've seen is a misalignment of the cash flow projection and what the business is actually generating at a particular point in time. What it does, it creates a liquidity crisis, and you'll find that the company is not able to, you know, to generate more income over time. One of the common ones that you know, are known, which I'm sure a lot of people will attest to them, is limited to or to no collateral at all. And when I mean collateral is the assets that can actually back up when, you know, the business is not able to you know, to generate more income. We normally go and ask, you know, for input within the equity space with the, you know, the security that is being offered to the bank, you know, to support in case you know, there's challenges over time of running the business. And another common one, which is very, very common, and unfortunately this one, you know, as a bank, we can't really ignore, it's a bad credit history. You know, a bad credit history over time eats away the ability for businesses to be able to be credit worthy, and for banks to be able to help them. And then the fifth one, which I've touched on a little bit in terms of solvency, is your debt versus your equity position. That we call it in the banking environment, you know, gearing levels. That you know, you are over indebted, you have more debt than the equity that you have into the business. What it does is that it puts you in a serious pressure in terms of managing, you know, cash flows. But Mike, for many SMEs today, what we are seeing is that their financials are not readily available, and they are not written down. So it makes it very difficult for us as a bank, you know, to understand the history, one, to understand, two, you know, what the projections of the business that they are putting on paper will be, or sometimes even the financial performance. And we get asked questions that, you know, you see my bank statement, you also see on a monthly basis what I generate. But for us to make a very informed decision about funding, we need to see the other things that are not in the bank statement. One being assets, two, debts, creditors, and some of the debtors that are not actually being shown into the bank statement, even outside debts, because what it does is we can give a holistic view of how much we can help you. So SMMEs need to have documents that show that, Mike, their projected value of using the accepted methods. Most of the SMEs that we have, they are not really obliged to be audited, but it's important that they have an opinion in terms of a very sound accounting principle to be able to manage their business and understand also their real financial needs. So entrepreneurs need to really seek guidance from those who are fully established, and we always try and promote that, and we create networks for them to interact with some of the businesses that are there. But more importantly, at ABSA, we sit down with most of the SMMEs in order to understand them better, and more specifically in terms of their needs, in order to structure the funding in a more appropriate way, Mike. So those are some of the things, Mike, that I think they are very critical in terms of understanding upfront, so that when the SMME is asking for funding, we can be able to to act very quickly, and also guide and advise. But those five points are very critical for us. Over to you, Mike.
Ronnie, huge insight. And, I'll tell you something. A couple of days ago, I was at a shopping center and a gentleman came up to me and said, Mike, you won't remember me. I was at Cape Town Convention Center where you gave a talk and you said to the audience, take responsibility for everything in life. And he said to me, all I did my whole life was blame the bank why I couldn't get funding. And he changed his whole insight, and he took responsibility, and he did everything that he can, and he got his funding. And I think my big message, of course, we cannot blame the outside world for what's happening to us. We've got to take responsibility for everything thrown us, and then do whatever we need to do to overcome that challenge. But great insight. And by the way, on our audience, we've got Million from Ethiopia, one of our SMEs. He's excited to be here, Ronnie. My next question, Ronnie, and here it is. What can business owners do to prepare better to secure funding?
Mike, again, another very good question. You're throwing very good questions today. Mike, committed businesses owners, what we have seen, not both on financial or through their level of involvement into the business, when someone is very committed in something that they are doing, we have seen over time that those businesses are highly likely to easily secure funding or to easily grow. What we have also seen is that business owners who understand mainly their businesses from a technical perspective and have a good level of understanding in terms of their operating environment, their markets, and over time they give us more insight. You must also remember that as a bank, we might not have the level of understanding that actually the person is running the business has. Although we see the financials, we see the industry trends, but the most important person that is very, very critical in terms of running the business is the owner themselves. So if the owner has got good industry knowledge, illustrate to us a passion of running the business, understand exactly the market that they are actually going into, and have made a serious impact in terms of penetrating those markets, even if it's market that generally will not fund. But we always talk about the jockey. We look at the jockey themselves, whether they understand exactly the business that they want to invest in. So those are a very important aspects and components in terms of understanding what the individual is doing. So a business that employ those good sustainable practices by seriously adding economic value over time, while they are having a serious positive impact in society or even in an environment that we are in, we've seen those businesses thrive, and it's easy for us to help them being fundable. So a good profitable track record for those businesses is key. because what it does is that it creates a level of positive history over time. And I always say this, that banks are always like doctors. We are the financial doctor. So the partnership that we have with yourself as running the business and us is like it's the same as the patient-doctor partnership. Every year, we need to look at the wellness and the health of the business together, so that we can put measures into the table way early, before things go wrong. So that's why we go for a health test, or a financial, health check. And those are very, very important, engagement. And I would like to encourage each and every, SME player out there. And I know that time is very critical in SME, because you do most of the functions. Invite us to our own space. Allow us to get into the business and understand with you the things that you understand, because what it does, it makes life easy for us over time, to plug in when there's a need for funding. So on the financial management aspect of it, really the ability to keep track and manage expenses is very critical in SME. As you know, each and every cent in SME is important. So SME have got to keep up their finger on the pulse when it comes to serious financial management, on top of the technical expertise that they have. So it's important that businesses are able to produce a set of management accounts, a set of financial accounts, including some of the cash flow projections, much more earlier for us, so that we can bridge, and take them along with us. And we do that, with each and every client that we have. So the invite must come, more. And sometimes we are not, Mike, we are not kept, busy that much by some of our clients, and we find that way too late into the problem that we could have detected much more earlier and be able to resolve it. We find that customers are coming, to us, and at that time, it's very difficult for us to resolve and go back to normality. So those are the points, Mike, and I hope there's more, but those are the points that I feel business owners need to do to prepare themselves. Back to you, Mike.
Ronnie, thank you for that. Yes, and of course, Sam, nice words from Sam. This is the fourth time I hear Ronnie speak, always insightful. Thank you, Sam. And just another plea to all our attendees. We've got a few thousand attendees on this platform right now. If we don't get to your answers, we sincerely apologize. Please pop them on an email to info@nsbc.africa, and I can assure you we'll get back to every one of you with an answer to your question. And also, please keep telling us where you're from. Put more questions on the platform, and keep it engaging. And just thanks to all the attendees out there, you really are engaging, and you're putting some great content forward. Sincerely appreciate that on behalf of ABSA. All right. So I know over the years, and I think all of us do, there's different types of funding are easier to get than other types of funding. So my question here at is, Ronnie, what types of funding are easier to obtain than others?
That's a very good question again, Mike. I will start by saying that there's no funding that I think is easier than others. Obviously, it depends on the stages of where the businesses are. But what we are seeing, Mike, in SME, and what we are seeing mostly, that is mostly common as a critical ask for funding. One is mainly the working capital, which is in SME, it's a tool that most of the businesses use to start grow the business. The business will require more funding, and this is mainly in the form of an overdraft facility. It's best suited for startup, and also medium to large established SME. This product for us it's really reviewed each year, so it also mitigate the risk of you over indebting yourself. So we can look at the requirements for the year that is coming, and make sure that it makes sense to the business, that the business can actually absorb the level of debt that is actually asking for, because that's a discipline that we're trying to push every time, that to create a sustainable SME lifespan, where a business has got 10, 15, 20 or 30 years, is for them to understand the level of debts that they can chew, one, understand the quantum on how they can actually grow over time. We've seen businesses that grow at a rapid speed, and they are unable to breathe in a short space of time. And what it does is it compresses the liquidity, and you find that they are unable to meet some of the short-term, debt or liabilities that they have. So there are other also forms of working capital, Mike, that are very common that we have seen. Trade and working capital facilities, especially to those SMEs that are dealing with international customers and suppliers. Those are very common. And the third common one is asset funding, mainly for an asset that generate income, whether it's a baki or yellow machine or other machines that and equipment that are generating income. This is almost as important as a working capital, because they are assets that generate the business, and those are very, very common, request and appealing to us as a bank as well. So as many SMEs will need an asset such as a delivery vehicle or a machine, especially in different sectors like manufacturing. Those are extremely common, and we fund those almost on a daily basis. So at ABSA, as I've said, Mike, any of our SME bankers across the country can assist in both those elements that I've alluded to: the working capital in the form of overdraft, as well as the facilities in international customers and suppliers, which is the trade and working capital, as well as the asset finance. And those are the common ones because they help the business, to generate more income over time. But again, it's important to look at how much you can chew. Mike, back to you.
Yeah. Absolutely, Ronnie. Over the years, we've seen it. 14, 15 years ago, the big demand then was, I'm starting a business, I need to borrow money. And I think people have realized, not only in East Africa, but around the world, that borrowing money to start a business from a funder is not that easy. And the big message has always been from us is, start a business with what you have. And as you start growing successfully, borrow money for growth for growth purposes. And I think that's been the biggest trend. But Ronnie, what alternative funding is out there for business owners struggling to obtain traditional funding?
Now, Mike, this is a common question that we normally get in many platforms or functions that we attend. The issue of collateral is a big issue. And being a bank, we need to make sure that we address it. This is usually required mainly to mitigate the risk, especially where the balance sheet is very large, mainly on the startup environment. So at ABSA, we have an enterprise development part of our business, which I'm very proud of, that supports SMEs with different alternative lending solutions. And these are the ones that we use, Mike, to help us mitigate some of the risk of funding that customers from day one, they are not overgeared. We put them in a position that can cover some of the risk that we see. This can range between 50 and 90% of the risk being covered. This again is dependent on the type of vehicle we choose and the type of solutions that we choose and the type of sector that we actually choose. And fortunately, there's also one that is available for women owned businesses, through a variety of functions that we have. So through the enterprise development, we also partner with our corporate clients to provide funding to SMEs in a more supplier chain type of an unsecured basis. This is complemented by a variety of non-financial support, which I like. Like I said, most of the SMEs are challenged with regards to non-financial support because you can give money, but you must also be able to educate over time and assist with regards to skills development, with regards to access to market, to allow the SMEs to be part of the ecosystem. So these are very important for us in terms of the sustainability in terms of SMEs that struggle to obtain traditional funding. So we've got that option, and we invite all our clients to tap into us so that we can assist. Back to you, Mike.
Yeah, absolutely, Ronnie. And my next question is quite close to my heart. You know, over the past few years, we spend a great deal of time and effort with, of course, as you know, with Experian, in educating business owners on how to improve their credit scores for not only themselves but also for their businesses, and to really inform business owners that they own their own credit score and they can make whatever difference they need. It's their choice. And from a banking executive, Ronnie, how important is a good credit score for both the business owner and their business?
This is an important one, Mike. It's important for business owners and their businesses to maintain a fully fledged, healthy credit score. Always. That I cannot emphasize. This is used primarily as a reference point in terms of how the SME, behave, mainly on the application process to determine, the track record in terms of how they behave. So it's very, very important. A poor credit score for even the individual owners of the business and those who are running the business, can be damaging in terms of the application. Without any mitigating, feedback can lead to a funding request, mainly even a good one, mainly being declined, because we have a responsibility, of making sure. And how I want our customers to overcome this is that the moment, Mike, the moment you see business is starting to struggle, production is going low, talk to us. Talk to us much more earlier, so that we can put in and in fact restructure if you have to, whatever lending we have given, so that over time you are not put in a position where your credit record will be tarnished. And we've seen that over time, that customers that have actually come to us told us that they are going through a particular situation in a point in time, or markets have misbehaved, or something major that has happened without their control. We are able to sit around the table and mitigate some of the risk and restructure the facilities so that they are in a much more better position. Remember, Mike, as a bank, we don't want customers to fail. That's the big. We don't want customers to fail, and we are not in business of repossession and taking people's assets and auction them. That's not our primary business. So that's why it's very important for us to have the roundtable discussion, look at alternative options that can actually get the SMME in a much more better position. Thanks, Mike.
Yeah, it's an important point, Ronnie. The thing is, and as we all know, instead of picking up the phone and phoning and discussing the problem, consumers and business owners, they turn their phones off and they hide away, and of course that problem just escalates. And just on that point again, to all our attendees, if you would like assistance in credit reports and improving your credit scores, there's an alarming amount of business owners, Ronnie, that don't ever check their credit scores. And what many people don't know is that getting your personal credit score is completely free. And we really encourage our business owners out there to get a credit report at least twice a year, if not more, because little things can creep in that you're not aware of. And, you don't want to be turned down by any form of funding, whether you're buying a car or you're buying a house or you're buying a commercial building for your business, because of something tiny on your credit score that could be fixed very quickly. Because just about everything on your credit score can be fixed quickly. And so anyone out there, if you there on the chat box, there's the link. Also, if you're welcome to email the NSBC. We will assist you. We will put you in touch with a consultant who will work with you to get that credit report shiny again. And it's really an important part of your business, and not only for you personally, but also for your business. So we certainly encourage that, and that service is open to all the attendees out there. Now, Ronnie, again, on the same point, because it is such an important point, what key tips do you have for a business owner to help them improve their credit scores, for themselves and their businesses?
No, thanks, Mike. This is a very important one. I think where SMEs are really afforded facilities, firstly, you have to respect that. I mean, facilities have to be respected. You have to ensure that you stay within your limit in order, to sustain the credit scores. And where you think you're gonna go over because you're doing your daily budget, notify the bank in time. Try by all means not to exceed any credit limit that you are granted by us. For example, when you are given an overdraft facility, and if not managed properly, it can lead to many other charges. Interest charges for exceeding limits, and that eats away, your ability for your business to be more profitable, which in turn can lead to a lot of things, go wrong. For example, debit orders can be unpaid, and that starts being a negative in terms of your profile. So this is a very, very good example of another contributor to poor credit records and poor credit scores, as we call them. So when you have a debit order being returned as an unpaid due to insufficient fund, the service provider, even if it's not us as a bank, the service provider has got a duty to report, which will immediately notify all the other barriers that we work with, that you are in areas which will negatively impact your score. So this come back, to my earlier point that I've commented about, the ability to manage your financials, the ability to manage, the financial management, that having your finger on the pulse of your income and expenses, understanding your cash flow projection, and also avoiding situations like this is key, because it then puts you in a very, very good position where your business has to come to us for further funding for growth. So those are a very important aspect that needs to be kept in check all the time. Thanks, Mike.
All right, Ronnie, now some positive stuff. I'm going to really get into our joint passion, Ronnie, and I'm going to ask you, ABSA Small Business Friday, as we know, is South Africa's biggest movement that mobilized the nation to support the small. How can small businesses and consumers out there get involved in this incredibly amazing movement?
It is an amazing movement, Mike. I mean, as you know, as ABSA, we are committed to SME and connecting them to their communities. And one easy way to show that support is to spread the word. Many small businesses who do not have significant budget for either marketing or advertising, word of mouth is often their most powerful tool in reaching many of their potential customers. That's if you purchase something from a small business or a woman-owned business or a youth-owned business, make sure that you tell your friends and families about it, or post it into a comment or even social medias. If your friends or family members recommend a particular product, you're more likely, to trust that it comes from a good place. So in recognition of that, the most important role that small businesses play, when, as you know, Mike, we launched the ABSA Small Business Friday, which is a reward initiative that we started earlier last year, that rewards customers who shop, in particular SME outlets, on Fridays and earn double cashback when they use their ABSA card on an ABSA card point of sale device. Furthermore, we also reward the SME that owns the merchant point device. They get cash reward when they reach a particular turnover threshold across their ABSA point of sale device for that month. So really, this is a win for us. This is a win for our consumer. This is also a win for our small medium enterprise. What we're trying to do here is to drive an ecosystem of traffic, directing the traffic back into our clients that are small medium enterprises, pushing up their turnovers, but doing that, offering a reward, from ABSA. Thanks, Mark.
Absolutely, Ronnie. Yeah, no, this is ongoing, and as we know, it's a nationwide movement that elevates every Friday. It peaks on Small Business Friday, which is always the first Friday of spring every year. And the stories that you've seen, Ronnie, are coming through from the nation is absolutely emotional and inspirational. And for anyone out there who wants to have a closer look at it, just remember the hashtag ABSA Small Biz with a Z, ABSA Small Biz Friday. That's the hashtag. The website, Small Biz Friday. Go and have a look and see how you can get involved. And, you know, I made it a point for myself, Ronnie, every single day of my life. I started this many years ago. I will go out there and support 1 or 2 and hopefully 3 local small businesses. Because we have to remember, when a small business goes out of business, a family goes out of business, children don't go to school, families don't get food on their tables. So it's a huge plus to go out there and support the small, because almost 2/3 of our working population work in a small business. And the fact is, by the year 2030, as you know, Ronnie, more than 90% of the working nation will work in a small business. And just for interest, in Switzerland, 98% of the working population work in a small business. It's the mainstay of our economy. It's the engine of our society. So it's a huge plus. And you know, without ABSA and people like you, Ronnie, this movement could never do what it's doing right now, helping so many thousands of people out there prosper. So a big thank you to what you're doing, and the post coming through, the social media is incredible. Your team is amazing in what they are doing, and we're very proud to be associated in this all-important movement. And of course, you know, I've got to ask you the final question, Ronnie, if you don't mind me. Why is the small business sector so important to ABSA?
Sure, Mike, I'm getting goosebumps when you ask a question like that, because small medium enterprises are really a heartbeat of the economy. You know, SMEs contribute well over 40% of our country, you know, GDP, employs probably 2/3 of our South African workers. So this means that the more support they receive, the more people they can employ, you know, and the more successful our country becomes. So we like to be participants on that and be partners fully, and make sure that there's a deliberate contribution from a bank like us, from ABSA, to make sure that small, medium enterprises thrive. So for us, we believe that by supporting small businesses, we contribute in creating more jobs. You know, we alleviate and take away unemployment, and making sure that there's a meaningful, you know, difference in building this nation of ours. So we cannot emphasize the local business support, which is key. Hence our drive in terms of a Small Business Friday that drives traffic in terms of rewards. So when you choose to buy from a South African small business, your money is returned within the local GDP. So this really boosts and inject a strong sense of pride into the communities that we serve. So there are also many other benefits, Mike. And you know, when you're buying local produce, produce, you know, by supporting local, whether it's farmers or a lady that is actually selling food in the street corner in Toyando, or anyone who is any earning money from, you know, doing work, or whether it's fed cook or any other things that we produce, you can help that. You can be assured that you are helping, the community to grow. So what you don't know is that you are also helping future generations that will build, from that. And we've seen generations taking over their small, medium enterprises, and maturing them to be big businesses over a period of time. So for me, small business is big business, Mark, and I would really like to encourage majority of the small businesses that own here businesses in South Africa to also utilize their local partners, so that we create an ecosystem that is very deliberate in terms of supporting each other. Ours as a bank is to make sure that we create a funding model and make it very easy for them in terms of navigating, the finances. And I would like to welcome them to our own space and to have what I call a roundtable discussion, so that we can navigate this economy together, Mike. Thanks.
Yeah, and Ronnie, 100%. And we all know that boosting the small business sector is the answer to alleviating unemployment and driving job creation. We all know, globally, we know that the future jobs are coming from the small business sector. And that is it's just such a big foundation of our society. So to go out there and make that small difference by supporting a small business frequently. And that's what the movement is all about. ABSA Small Biz Friday is to change the mindset of the millions, to go out there for a good reason to support local small businesses. And you've done it, Ronnie. ABSA's done it, and you're doing the right stuff. And I just want to say to you, Ronnie, thank you for your time. I've certainly enjoyed myself. I hope all our I think the chat box is going at the speed of sound. So there's certainly a lot of enjoyment out there. Guys, please give Ronnie a round of applause. It's been wonderful talking to you, Ronnie, and I know our engagement will continue frequently around the subject. And I just want to thank you and ABSA for what you do and what you are doing for the community out there, which you also passionately are involved in. So, Ronnie, thank you. And to all our attendees out there, it's because of people like you we can do what we do. We're truly grateful for your presence. We hope that there's some insights that you can take away that will make a big difference in your lives and your business life. And thank you. Have a great day further. Stay close to us. Big things are coming, and have a wonderful weekend. Thank you so much.
Small. What does it mean? Ask a dictionary and you'll get a size that is less than normal or usual. Or worse, insignificant, unimportant. Here's what we think at ABSA. Small means community, your neighbor. It means that cup of coffee that you buy from the cafe on your way to work. The suit in the shop window that you promise you'll get one day. It's the family restaurant that you run into to grab lunch or dinner. The haircut you get together with free advice. It's Marilo's Bakery. Because when you look at the big picture, small is huge, and it's why we back small businesses. Play your part and shop local every hashtag ABSA Small Biz Friday and be the me in SME. Let's grow Mzansi kaofela. Visit absa.co.za to find out how hashtag ABSA Small Biz Friday benefits us all. We do more so small businesses can thrive. That's Africanacity.